My brother said I'd be pouring coffee for the rest of my life, scraping by in some godforsaken diner off I-80. But that all changed when the Joint Chiefs called me Colonel Davis right in front of him, his face turning the color of spoiled milk as the truth I'd buried for a decade clawed its way out. I'd taken the fall for his screw-up back in Kandahar. Let them pin the supply chain fraud on me. Watched my stars get stripped away while he slithered back stateside with a fat payout and a clean slate. And now, as the rain hammered the roof of that Omaha motel like God's own gavel, I realized revenge wasn't a choice anymore. It was the only goddamn thing keeping my heart from exploding. It started with a whisper in the wind, or maybe just the cheap bourbon burning my throat. But either way, I was done playing the loyal sister. Ethan had always been the golden boy, tall, square-jawed, the kind of guy who could charm a cobra out of its skin. Growing up in that crumbling row house in South Philly, with mom chain-smoking Pall Malls and dad vanishing into the bottle after Nom, Ethan was the one who'd promise we'd make it big. "Where to Visa's? Brookie," he'd say, ruffling my hair. "We don't break, we bend. But bending turns you into a pretzel eventually. Twisted and worthless." I enlisted at 18, fresh out of Northeast High, trading textbooks for M4S because the recruiters promised a way out of the projects. Boot at Paris Island was hell, but I thrived on it. The drill instructors screaming in my face just made me sharper, hungrier. By 25, I was a captain in logistics, shipping gear to the sandbox like it was Amazon Prime for grunts.
"Ethan?"
He followed me in, nepotism his golden ticket, landing a cushy supply officer gig under my wing. "Keep an eye on your little bro," the CO had joked. Little did I know. Kandahar, 2013. Dust-choked air, temps hitting 120 in the shade, and us scrambling to keep the FOB stocked while the Taliban lobbed mortars like it was a 4th of July barbecue. Ethan's unit was short on everything: ammo, meds, you name it, and he got desperate. Started skimming manifests, rerouting pallets to black market dealers for kickbacks. Small at first, a crate here, a Humvee there. But greed's like dry rot. It spreads quiet until the whole structure caves. I caught wind from a supply clerk, a kid from Jersey with eyes like a spooked deer. "Captain, something's off with Lieutenant Davis's logs." My gut twisted. Ethan was family, blood thicker than the sandstorms that blinded us for days. I confronted him in the hooch, sweat beading on his forehead like confession. "It's nothing, Brooke.
Just
efficiencies. We're at war, rules bend." He begged, tears in those blue eyes I'd wiped snot from when we were kids. Said he'd fix it, but I knew better. Cover for him, or watch him rot in Leavenworth. So I did what any sister would. I buried it. Falsified reports. Signed off on the discrepancies. Took the heat when auditors came sniffing. The hammer fell 6 months later. Investigation hit like a drone strike, sudden, precise, devastating. They hauled me into a tent that reeked of stale coffee and fear, brass staring me down like I was the enemy.
"Ethan?"
He played dumb, pointed fingers my way. Captain Davis ran the show.
"Sir."
If there's dirt, it's on her. My world imploded. Court-martial in Qatar. Whispers of treason rippling through the ranks. I got dishonorably discharged. Benefits slashed.
Pension a joke.
27 years old. Back in Philly with a duffel and a discharge paper that might as well have been a scarlet letter.
"Ethan?"
He got a slap, reprimand. Transfer to a desk in Virginia. Then,
Poof.
He retired early, cashed in on some consulting gig with a Beltway firm. Last I heard, he was living large in Arlington. Wife number 2. A McMansion with a 3-car garage.
Me?
I poured coffee. All right, at that diner in Lincoln, Nebraska, where truckers leered and tips came sticky with regret. Nights blurred into shots at the VFW, where vets who'd served with me averted their eyes. The betrayal a ghost between us. But ghosts don't stay buried. Not when karma's got a forwarding address. It was a Tuesday in July. Heat wave turning the plains into a skillet. When the letter arrived. Plain envelope. No return address. Postmarked DC. I slid it open behind the counter. Grease from the grill still on my fingers. Inside, a single sheet, crisp as a fresh uniform. Colonel Brooklyn Davis, we regret the error. Reinstatement effective immediately. Report to Pentagon. 0900. August 15th. Eyes only. My knees buckled. Colonel, they'd scrubbed the record.
Or so it seemed.
But why now? I stuffed it in my apron. Heart pounding like incoming fire. Ethan called that night.
Voice all honey over the line.
Heard you're slinging hash browns.
Sis.
Need a loan. I bit back the venom. Played along. Yeah.
Eth.
Life's a bitch. He laughed. That easy baritone that used to make me feel safe. Come visit. Bring your coffee pot. I didn't sleep. Dawn broke sticky and unforgiving. And by noon, I was on a Greyhound east. The letter burning a hole in my purse. Arlington welcomed me with traffic snarls and the stink of Potomac humidity. Ethan's place was everything mine wasn't. Colonial facade. Lawn mowed to military precision. A flagpole out front snapping in the breeze. His wife. Lauren blonde. Pilates toned. The kind of woman who brunched, greeted me at the door with a hug that smelled like Chanel. Brooklyn. Eth said you'd drop by. Come in. The AC's cranked. She led me through a foyer that screamed money. Persian rugs. Abstract art that cost more than my old apartment. Ethan lounged in the den, feet up on a leather ottoman, nursing a highball. Brookie, looking rustic. His eyes flicked over my thrift store jeans, the faded Rangers tee clinging to my frame. I forced a smile, the letter a grenade in my back pocket. We small-talked over takeout Thai, Lauren chattering about her book club, Ethan dropping hints about opportunities in private security. You were always the brains.
Sis.
That discharge? Water under the bridge. I nodded. Fork spearing pad, CEW, like it was his throat. After Lauren cleared plates, excusing herself for a girls' night, it was just us. Brothers and sisters. Blood and betrayal. Spit it out.
Eth.
Why the invite? He leaned forward. Ice clinking. Missed you.
And.
Heard rumors. Brass sniffing around old files. My pulse spiked. He knew. What files? He shrugged. Too casual. Kandahar. Some audit resurfaced. But hey, if it's clean, no sweat. Lies slithered from him like smoke. I pulled the letter, slid it across the coffee table. His face, God. That choke. The stutter. Colonel?
They
can't, but they had. And, in that moment, watching him unravel, I tasted it. Power. Sharp as battery acid. You sold me out, I said, voice low. For what? a condo and a trophy wife. He recovered quick. That schemer's grin. We were kids playing soldier.
Brooke.
You chose to cover. Your call. My fists clenched. Chose? I'd chosen family over everything. Honor. Career.
Sanity.
And he'd pissed it away for greenbacks. I left at midnight. Rain sheeting the windshield as I drove a rental south toward Quantico. The road hummed under tires. Thoughts churning like thunderheads. Revenge wasn't a word. It was a blueprint. Ethan had layers, always had. The kid who'd steal mom's last cigarette but blame the dog. The LT who'd skim funds but cry foul when caught. But this? Reinstatement meant exposure. If they dug deep, his ass was grass. First move, intel. I crashed at a motel off 95, the kind with vibrating beds and roaches for roommates. Fired up my ancient laptop. Thank God for free Wi-Fi and Devon. Ethan's LinkedIn was a joke. Logistics expert, veteran advocate, family man. Bullshit. Cross-referenced with public records. The consulting firm? Tied to the same Afghan suppliers he'd greased. And Lauren? Not so vanilla, maiden name Hargrove. Daughter of a senator with defense committee pull.
Bingo.
The betrayal had tentacles. By dawn, I had a plan. Call it Operation Prodigal. Infiltrate. Expose. Eviscerate. Step 1. Leverage the reinstatement. Report to the Pentagon. Play the dutiful soldier. But en route, a detour. I hit a dive bar in Fredericksburg, the jukebox crooning Springsteen like a dirge. There, nursing a bud, I cornered an old contact, SGT. Ramirez, now a PI with a gut and grudges. Brooklyn Davis? Thought you were toast. His laugh was gravel. I slid him the letter. Resurrected. Need dirt on my brother. Ethan Davis. Kandahar. 2013. Ramirez's eyes narrowed. That weasel owes me beer from Fallujah. Gimme a day. 24 hours later. Thumb drive in hand. Emails. Wire transfers. Photos of Ethan schmoozing warlords in Kabul. The kickbacks? Laundered through offshore shells. Funneled back to D.C. Lobbyists. And the kicker, a memo from Lauren's dad, bearing the initial probe. Family ties. Indeed. I forwarded copies to an anonymous drop, my old CO. Now a general with a nose for injustice.
Then,
the hook, a text to Ethan. Pentagon tomorrow. Drinks after? Your place. His reply, hell yeah.
sis.
Water under the bridge. Bridge? I'd burn it. The Pentagon loomed like a concrete fortress. Security theater at its finest, metal detectors beeping. Guards with sidearms that made my palm itch. They ushered me into a conference room smelling of bureaucracy and bad coffee. Brass assembled, stars on shoulders. Faces etched with the weight of endless wars. General Harlan, my resurrector, stood at the head. Colonel Davis. Welcome back. The room snapped to attention. Colonel. It rolled off tongues like vindication. Harlan briefed the audit. A whistleblower, Ramirez. That sly fox. Evidence clearing my name. Ethan's name? Not mentioned.
Yet. Ma'am.
Your records expunged. We need you on a task force, supply chain integrity. Afghanistan Redux. I saluted.
Crisp.
Yes, sir. But inside, a storm. This wasn't redemption. It was a loaded chamber. That night, Ethan's den again. Lauren out Pilates or politics.
Who cared?
He poured scotch.
Neat.
Colonel.
Ha.
Must feel good. His eyes probed. Shark-like. I sipped.
Slow.
Feels like justice. We danced, small talk laced with barbs. Then, I dropped the bomb. Heard about the Hargrove connection. Senators pulling strings. He froze. Glass midway. What the hell? Brooke. I leaned in. Your wife's dad buried it. For you. Laughter. Bitter. Family helps family. My turn to laugh. Like I helped you? Took the fall so you could play Wall Street Warrior. The mask cracked. You were always too soft.
Sis.
War's not for saints. Soft? I dodged IEDs. Buried buddies. Signed off on drones that vaporized weddings. Soft got you killed. You used me. Skimmed millions while I rotted. He stood, pacing, that Arlington rug muffling his fury. It was survival. Those suppliers? They had dirt, Taliban ties. I paid to keep us safe.
Lies. But slick.
The schemer flipped, victim now. You think I wanted this? Dad's ghost. Mom's cancer bills. I did it for us.
Us.
The word hung. A noose. Part of me, the kid sister, wavered. But the colonel? She saw the calculus, greed, not grace. I left him stewing. Drove into the night. Phase 2, the twist. I'd leak the files, not all. Just enough to singe. An email to a Post reporter. Ethan's face on the byline fodder. By morning, headlines buzzed. Veteran consultant linked to Afghan scandal. Ethan called. Raging. You bitch. You'll drag us all down. I hung up. Heart a war drum. But doubt crept. Lauren's voicemails. Tearful. Please? Brooklyn. He's changed. Changed? Or cornered. The task force hit warp speed. DC grind. Briefings in the earring. Analysts poring over manifests like scripture. I thrived. The uniform fitting like an old skin. But shadows lengthened. Ethan went dark. Then desperate, flowers at my temp quarters. A note, talk. For Mom. We met at the Lincoln Memorial. Dusk gilding the marble. Tourists milling like ants. He looked haggard. Stubble silvering his jaw. They're coming for me. Brooke. Senate hearing. Lauren's leaving. Schadenfreude soured. This was blood. You did this, he spat. Twisted the knife. I gripped the railing. Reflecting pool rippling accusations. You started it. Betrayed me for chump change. He stepped close. Breath whiskey hot. It wasn't just money. The suppliers. They had compromat.
On you? 2.
That falsified report? Your signature. My blood iced. The cover-up I'd signed.
Yes.
To protect him. Complicity. A chain around my neck. You threatened me? His grin. Feral. Survival. Remember? We bend. The flip. He wasn't just villain. He was mirror. I'd chosen silence. Enabled the rot. Revenge? Or reckoning for us both. I walked away. Potomac whispering secrets. The hearing loomed his, not mine. I testified. Voice steady. Facts. Files. No mercy. But as senators grilled him, Ethan broke script. My sister knew. Covered for family. Gasps rippled. The room tilted, hero to harpy in a heartbeat. Cameras flashed. Headlines flipped. Reinstated colonel implicated in scandal. My stars tarnished anew. Betrayal's echo. In the aftermath, Ethan vanished. Rumors of a plea deal. Exile to some Caribbean hole. Lauren? Divorce papers. Senator Dad disowning the mess.
Me?
Demoted. Desk-bound. The taste of ash. But the twist? In his haste, Ethan left a trail, not just to me, but to the real puppet master, Harlan, my resurrector. The general, pocketing bigger cuts, using Ethan's skim as cover. The whistleblower? Bought off. I had the files, the proof. One email, and the house of cards topples. But send it, drag down the man who gave me back my name, or bury it. Bend once more, as rain lashes my window in that Omaha diner, full circle. Coffee pot steaming, I stare at the screen. Vengeance or virtue? No one's clean. Ethan's ghost laughs. We're devices.
Brookie.
We don't break. Click send or delete. The cursor blinks. My finger hovers. And in that endless American night, where heroes are myths and betrayal's breakfast talk, I choose. To bend. Not break. The email drafts. Unsent. A digital dirge in my outbox. Dawn creeps over the plains, turning the diner's chrome counters to molten gold. And I pour another cup black. No sugar. Just like the truth. Ethan's out there somewhere, nursing grudges in a hammock strung between palm trees. Lauren's alimony, his only chain. Harlan, still brass, polishing his stars while the machine grinds on.
Me?
Colonel, in name only, a ghost in greens, haunting briefings where no one meets my eyes. But ghosts whisper. And mine's got a voice like gravel over glass. Ramirez calls from Fredericksburg, his PI hustle paying dividends. Davis, your bro's not lounging in paradise. Spotted in Miami, shady meet with old Afghan contacts. Smells like sequel. My laugh's hollow, echoing off the motel's thin walls. Sequel? Hell. This is the director's cut. I pack light, the duffel from a decade ago, now stuffed with printouts and a Beretta I shouldn't have but do. Florida bound on a red eye, the cabin lights dimming like inhibitions. Miami greets with humidity that clings like regret, neon veins pulsing through South Beach. Ethan's trail leads to a waterfront condo, the kind where retirees sip Mai Tais and money launders itself in offshore accounts. Surveillance first, old habits. I stake out from a rental Civic, binoculars fogging in the AC blast. There he is, Ethan, tanned and tense, pacing a balcony overlooking Biscayne Bay. Not alone. A figure joins him, tailored suit, salt and pepper hair. Harlan. My general, moonlighting as kingpin. The pieces slot. Resurrection wasn't grace, it was gag order. Come back, Colonel. Play nice, or we air your dirty laundry. Ethan's the bait, Harlan the hook. Family, just fodder. Rage simmers, a pot on low boil. I tail them to a dockside bar. Cuban rhythms thumping like heartbeats. Ethan spots me, inevitable, that twin sense we share. Brookie. He slides a mojito my way. Harlan vanishing into the shadows like smoke. Fancy meeting you here. We talk. Or pretend to. Waves lap pilings. Salt air thick with unspoken sins. You sold out to him, I say. lime wedge twisting in my glass. The man who framed us both. Ethan's eyes. Bloodshot. Framed? He recruited me. Post-discharge. Said you were collateral, too loyal to flip.
Flip.
Like a coin. Heads betrayal. Tails more. The schemer unspools. Harlan's empire. Built on war scraps. Kandahar was pilot schemes funding endless conflicts. Brass skimming cream.
Ethan?
Mid-level mule.
Me?
The patsy. Silenced by discharge. I tried to warn you. After the letter. But you came swinging. Worn? With flowers and scotch? I drain the glass. Shards of ice crunching. You let me take the fall. Again. He leans close. Breath minty over rum. Blood. Brook. Thicker than bay water. But blood clots. Turns toxic. Harlan reemerges. Arm around a redhead half his age. Colonel Davis. Slumming. His voice. All Potomac polish. I stand. Chair scraping like nails on chalkboard.
General.
Fancy a chat about audits. His smile doesn't reach eyes. Cold as a foxhole. The confrontation brews. Miami's heat amplifying the tension. We three. A twisted trinity. Adjourning to Harlan's yacht. White elephant docked like a predator at rest. Below decks. Teak and leather. Scotch flowing like confessions. Harlan monologues. Ego unspooling. War's a racket.
Kids.
I just run the numbers. Ethan nods. My echo from Kandahar. But I see the fracture. His hand trembles on the glass. You used us, I say. Voice steady as a rifle sling. Harlan chuckles. Darwin. Colonel. Adapt or perish.
Adapt.
I'd bent till I snapped. Now reforming.
Steelier.
The flip comes swift. Ethan rises. Face ashen. She's right.
Sir.
The Miami drop, it's over. Harlan's mask slips. Fury flashing. You little shit. After all words die as Ethan pulls a flash drive from his pocket. My gift from Ramirez. Insurance. Sent copies. To the post. FBI. Unless you cut us loose.
Us.
The word stings. Inclusion a barb. Harlan lunges, not violent, but desperate. Grabbing for the drive. I intercept, shoving him back. Touch him. And your empire's chum. The yacht rocks. Biscayne choppy under storm clouds gathering like co-conspirators. Ethan bolts topside. Harlan cursing Navy oaths. I follow. Wind whipping. Rain spitting first drops. Why now? I yell over the gale. He grips the rail. Drive clutched like a talisman. You showed me.
Brooke.
The hearing, your testimony. Woke me up.
Woke.
Or cornered. Flipping sides like a weather vane in hurricane. Harlan bursts up. Soaked. Sidearm drawn. Regulation issue. Gleaming wet. Stand down. Both of you. The scene freezes. Brother. Betrayer. Me in the crosshairs. Lightning cracks. Illuminating the dilemma. Shoot? Expose? Or sink with the ship? Ethan moves first, tosses the drive overboard. A digital suicide. No more games. Harlan fires wide. Warning shot plunking into the sea. Sirens wail distant. Miami PD drawn by the thunder, or the tip Ethan slipped. We scatter. Ethan to a tender boat, vanishing into the maze of channels. Harlan arrested dockside. sputtering about clearances.
Me?
I slipped the perimeter, heart hammering, the rain washing away the salt. Back in the Civic, wipers slashing. I process. Vengeance delivered, but tainted. Ethan's flip, redemption or ruse. The drive's gone, but copies linger in clouds. A sword over Harlan's neck. Headlines tomorrow: Pentagon scandal, general nabbed in money laundering sting. But the cost? Ethan's freedom, bought with my silence. He texts from parts unknown. Thanks,
Sis.
blood bends, doesn't break. I delete it, but the ache lingers. Weeks blur into fallout. Harlan's empire crumbles, indictments, suicides in the ranks, congressional hearings turning C-SPAN into a circus. I'm cleared. Fully, medals pinned back, pension restored. But the uniform chafes now, starched with suspicion. Ethan surfaces in a burner call, voice crackling from who knows where. Canada. Fresh start. Lawrence coming up, forgave me. The fool. Laughter. Shared. Rusty. You flipped for real? I ask.
Pause. For you. And me.
We're all we've got. All? The word mocks. Betrayal's scar. A tattoo under skin. I hang up, stare at the reflecting pool from my new DC apartment. Perks of rank. Tourists gawk, oblivious to the currents beneath. The twist coils tighter. Ramirez digs deeper. Uncovers Lauren's angle. Not victim, architect. Her senator dad? Puppet. She orchestrated the schemes, using Ethan's access. My cover. Family business, her emails read.
Cold as contracts.
Rage reignites, but tempered.
Confront?
Or let karma's tide pull her under. The hearings echo. No one's clean. Ethan's flip exposed her. Indirectly. My testimony? The lever. I draft another email, not to press, but to her. We know.
Lauren.
Bend or break. No send. Instead, I pour coffee black, in a Pentagon mug, watching dawn gild the monuments. America's heart, beating uneasy. Heroes? Villains? Just survivors. Bending in the wind. Yet the wind shifts, and bending becomes breaking, or so I tell myself as autumn crisps the Potomac's edges, leaves skittering like classified docs in a breeze. DC's a pressure cooker now. Scandals bubbling over like overboiled gumbo at a Louisiana wake. Harlan's trial dominates cable news, Fox calling it deep state purge, MSNBC a military-industrial reckoning.
Me?
I'm the wild card. Colonel Davis. The sister scorned who lit the fuse. Reporters hound my lobby. Mics thrust like bayonets. I stonewall. But inside, the churn. Ethan's in hiding. Vancouver whispers say. Shacked up with Lauren in a Craftsman that screams reinvention, granite counters. View of the sound. Lies stacked like cordwood. She forgave him? Or forgave the shares in Daddy's slush fund? My PI buddy Ramirez chuckles over encrypted line. They're nesting. Colonel. But nests burn easy.
Burn.
The word tempts. A siren in the night. I could torch it all, leak the Hargrove files, watch Senator spines snap like dry twigs. But controversy's a double-edged blade. It cuts the wielder too. The task force eyes me sideways. Whispers of compromised loyalties. My reinstatement? Fragile as rice paper. The call comes mid-November. Chills seeping through my trench coat as I pace Arlington National. Headstones marching like accusations. Ethan's voice. Tinny, Brooke. Need you. Urgency cracks his cool. What now? A beat. It's Lauren.
She's.
Unraveling. Says you're coming for us. Unraveling. The architect. Frayed at the seams. I fly north. Commercial coach cramping my legs like old grudges. Vancouver's a damp dream. Evergreens dripping. Ferries moaning across inlets. They meet me at a harborside cafe. Fog rolling off the water like amnesia. Ethan. Heavier. Eyes haunted. Lauren. Makeup caked over cracks. Extends a manicured hand. Brooklyn. Tea. We sit. Steam curling from mugs. Small talk a minefield. Ships hoot distant. Seals barking mockery. Then. The deluge. Lauren confesses. Words tumbling like loose change. It was Dad's idea. Post 9/11 gold rush. Defense bucks flowing like wine. Ethan was the entry point, you. The firewall. Firewall. I'd burned for them. Embers now. Why tell me? I ask. Spoons stirring void. She glances at Ethan. Hand on his. Because he's done.
And. Guilt.
You took the hit we dodged.
Guilt.
Foreign as mercy. Ethan nods. The flip complete. We're turning state's evidence. Full disclosure, Harlan. The suppliers. All. Hero turn? Or hedge bet. The schemer's last con. Immunity for infamy. I want to rage. Shatter the porcelain. But the vista, snow-capped peaks mocking our pettiness, stills me.
And me?
You're Patsy? Lauren winces. Collateral. But you're free now.
Free.
The word's a joke. Chains invisible but iron. The climax crests that night. In their rental, a A-frame perched on a bluff. Wind howling Orcus laments. Dinner strained. Salmon. Local. Bloodied on the plate. Wine loosens tongues. Truths spilling red. Ethan recounts Kandahar. Voice breaking. I watched you sign that report. Brooke. Hated myself every stroke.
Watched.
Participated. Lauren piles on. Senators' machinations. Boardroom deals where lives were line items. We thought it was patriotic funding the fight. Patriotic. The lie that launched 1,000 drones. Tempers flare as plates clear. I accuse. You flipped me for fortunes. Ethan retorts. You enabled. Chose silence over squealing. The room spins. A carousel of culpability. Lauren mediates. Tears real. We're all monsters here. Monsters. The word lands. Polarizing. Am I avenger or accomplice? Victim or villain? The argument escalates. Voices rising over the gale. Accusations volleying like artillery. Ethan grabs my arm. Let it go.
Sis.
Or it'll eat us alive.
Eat.
Like the worm in our apple core. I wrench free. Storming to the deck. Stars prick the ink. Cold air knifing lungs. Below. Waves crash. Indifferent. Footsteps, Lauren. Shawl wrapped.
He's right.
Revenge? It's acid. Corrodes the vessel. Vessel.
Me.
Cracked porcelain. We talk till false dawn. Confessions carving deeper. Her twist, not just greed, fear. Dad's empire teetering. Post-recession. Protect the family, he'd said. Echo of Ethan's Kandahar plea. Cycles. Vicious. By morning. A pact. Joint testimony. We three. Against the machine. Ethan's evidence. My record. Lauren's ledgers. The hearing not his, but ours, looms in D.C. A coliseum for the damned. Return flights turbulent. Mirroring the gut. Headlines await. Davis siblings to testify in massive fraud probe. Pundits polarize. Patriots purging corruption. Or traitors toppling titans. Social media ignites. Sister scorn trending. Memes of me as avenging angel. Devil horns photoshopped on Ethan. The Capitol's a circus. Klieg lights. Gavels cracking like whips. We sit side by side. A tableau of tension. Ethan sweating. Lauren poised. Me stone. Senators circle. Blowhards from both aisles. Probing like proctologists. Colonel Davis drawls a Texan. You covered for fraud. Treasonous? I lean in. Mic hot. Loyalty.
Sir. To blood.
Mistake? Yes. Crime? Yours. For the system that breeds it.
Gasps.
Ethan's turn. I skimmed to survive. But Harlan? He weaponized war. Lauren seals. The funds? Diverted from troops to yachts. Un-American. The chamber erupts. Cheers. Jeers. C-SPAN gold. Harlan glares from the dock.
Cuffed.
Empire ash. Testimony drags days. Cross-exams drawing blood. Ethan's flip questioned. Self-preservation or contrition? Mine. Heroine or enabler? Polarization peaks. Op-ed split. Families feud at Thanksgiving tables. She betrayed her brother. He betrayed his country. No victors. Just voices in the void. Then, the twist, the real gut punch. Mid-hearing. A leak. My signature. Digitized. On a fresh manifest. Not Kandahar, recent. Task force funds. Siphon subtle. Harlan's parting gift? Or Ethan's insurance? Fingers point inward. Chaos. Recess called. Whispers wildfire. Ethan corners me in a cloakroom. Eyes wild. It wasn't me.
Brooke.
Swear. Lauren nods.
Pale.
But doubt festers, blood bends. Investigators swarm. My office raided. Brass suspends me. Pending. The narrative flips. Reinstated colonel in fresh scandal. Betrayals Hydra. Heads multiplying. I flee to Philly roots. Mom's old house boarded. Ghosts thick as smog. Nights. I pace. Bourbon burning blueprints. Vengeance? Vanity. The system endures. We ants crushed under. Ethan calls. Frantic. It's Harlan's plant. He's cutting deals. Naming us all.
Us.
Fractured. Final play. I go rogue. Hack Ramirez's feeds. Old files. Buried deep. Proof. Harlan's hack. Forging my digital ink to smear. I leak it anonymous. To WikiLeaks kin. Explosion. Headlines vindicate. Hearings halt. Harlan's deal crumbles. Solitary awaits. Ethan. Lauren exonerated, relocated. Witnesses protected.
Me?
Cleared. But charred. Colonelcy intact. But trust torched. I resign. Quietly, desk job in Omaha. Training recruits on ethics. Irony thick. Epilogues a quiet diner. Snow blanketing Nebraska. Ethan visits. Incognito. Ball cap.
Goatee.
We made it. Sis. Hug awkward. But real. Lauren waits in the car. Wave tentative. As he leaves, taillights fading into whiteout. I ponder the debate. Was it justice? Or just another bend? Blood holds. But at what cost? In America's endless gray, where right and wrong blur like headlights in storm, I pour coffee one last time. Black. Bitter.
True.
No one's clean. But damn if we don't try.